Hey folks, and welcome to TK Power Sports and RVs. Today we're taking a look at the brand new 2023 Can-Am Outlander 500 and 700. Now this is the mid-cc model. It replaces the old Outlander 450 and 570, and this thing is brand new from the ground up. And in this video, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about it. As I mentioned, this is Can-Am's new mid-cc model, and this is an incredibly important model for Can-Am. Why? Well, there's two reasons. First of all, that mid-cc ATV category, basically the 500cc category, it makes up 60% of the overall market. So it's a huge segment of ATVs. And then beyond that, Can-Am actually doesn't have a very big market share in the mid-cc class. They do a lot better with the big bore stuff. So this machine is really looking to take a bite of market share out of the Polaris and Honda 500 machines. Now, like I mentioned, it's brand new from the ground up. Everything's here new: suspension, frame, engine, everything. So let's talk about the power plant. Powering this new Outlander is a 650cc single cylinder engine. So they went with the mono cylinder for a number of reasons, but one of the main ones has to do with the way the exhaust comes out. I'll try and show you guys here. You can't really see it, but the engine is in there and the cylinder sits up on an angle, so the exhaust comes out directly out the back of this machine. Now, why that's important is because normally the exhaust would come down right in this area, right by your leg, and this would get really hot, but that no longer happens. After riding for quite a few hours, this doesn't have any heat at all. So that was one of the reasons they went to a monocylinder, because you might remember that those old mid-cc models, well, they were actually a V-twin. So yes, they've moved to a single cylinder, but don't worry, this thing does actually make more power than before. The base power plant is called the HD5, and it's gonna make 40 horsepower and 37 pound-feet of torque. The upgraded power plant is the HD7. It makes 50 horsepower and 41 pound-feet of torque. So there's more power here, only about 3 to 5 horsepower more, but there is more power than the last engine had. And just to be clear, yes, every single one of these models will use the 650cc engine, but you'll get two different states of tune. And no, it's not just an ECU tune. That is part of it. So if you get the HD5, you have to get a new ECU to go up to HD7, but you also need to replace the camshaft. There's a high-performance camshaft that allows it to make that extra power. The other reason Can-Am says that they went to this single cylinder: maintenance. I mean, just having one cylinder is going to be easier to maintain than two cylinders. And Can-Am also claims that the maintenance schedule on this machine is a lot more affordable than what you're going to find from either Polaris or Honda. The first year, in fact, there's no maintenance necessary, which is not the case at the other brands. So outside of that high-performance camshaft on the HD7, every single one of these power plants, or these power options, gets unique CVT tuning. And I want to show you guys something, because Can-Am has also really worked on accessibility for working on these machines. So this plastic piece pops off like so and reveals your CVT. It really is that easy. So if you had to get in there and change the belt, boom, you just peel off that one piece, and then there is your CVT. So nice, easy access. And that's something that Can-Am kind of stressed with this machine. They want it to be as easy as possible. Now, under the seat here, you can't actually get to the battery. It's actually kind of down here underneath this wheel well. So what they have done is they've put a positive and a negative battery post. So if you do need to charge the battery or boost the machine or boost another machine, you can still get to those power points right there. And while we're looking, we might as well peel this one off on this side too. And it's only one clip, just one clip. And then this plastic just kind of massages its way out of here. And when you remove this, I mean, it gives you clear access right there to your dipstick and anything else you need to work on this engine. And I mentioned the exhaust before. You can see it's right there behind this heat shield. So here's your cylinder, and then the exhaust comes straight out the back. Talking about overall size, this machine has grown a little bit compared to those old Outlander models, and the biggest change is in the width. This is a total width of 47.6 inches, and that is 2 inches wider than it was before. Now we can go ahead and try to peek in here at the suspension, which is once again entirely revised. We do have an A-arm setup. Up here in the front, you're getting 9.75 inches of travel, and then in the back, you are getting 10.25 inches of travel, which is quite a bit for a utility ATV. Overall ground clearance here comes in at 12 inches, unless you go for that crazy XMR mud model, at which case it steps up to 13 inches. And I guess I should mention now, this model you're looking at right here is the Outlander XT700. So that brings along a couple things. First of all, obviously that HD7 powertrain with the extra power. Outside of that, the XT here also gets the tri-mode DPS, that's dynamic power steering, that actually allows you to adjust how heavy the power steering is. It gets the Visco-Lock QE auto locking front differential, 26-inch XPS tail force tires with 14-inch aluminum wheels, a 3,500-pound Warn winch up there on the nose. You're getting these front and rear bumpers, which are also unique to XT. And then finally, the premium glove box with the cell phone holder. So I'll show you that first, and then we'll also talk about storage. So you get this new glove box here between your legs, pops open like so, and you actually get this cool cell phone holder. It's this plate right here. And what you do is you put a magnet on the back of your phone and it sticks right into this little indent right here. And that's gonna keep your phone nice and solid. I definitely like that. And then of course, right next to it, there is 2 USB ports. So yes, you can also plug your electronics in while you're out on the trail. Looking at the rest of the storage, you're gonna notice these racks are also totally revised. They've put in these bins. So they've gotten rid of the kind of the steel racking out of the middle. And you have this nice bin cutout. Now you'll see right here, those are the pre-drilled holes for the Link accessories. So you can bolt in your Link connections right there, and then you can put fuel caddies, coolers, all kinds of different things back on the rear end of this machine, thanks to Can-Am accessories. And capacity on this rear rack is 240 pounds, while up front, it's 120 pounds. Now they've basically done the same thing at the front, except for standard, they're going to include this cover here, which is hard to open with one hand. I'm gonna let go of the camera for a sec. And there you go. So you actually get this little 32-liter storage bin, which comes, again, standard on every single one of these Outlanders. Now you can also take this lid off and just have an open bin. Once again, down in there, you'll see the pre-cut little holes for Link. So you can also connect your Link things up here in the front. And I'll show you right here, one of the things Can-Am said is you can now put a fuel caddy on the front of your Outlander. They never recommended it before because the caddy would sit up above, and then if you were to roll over, well, it's very exposed. But now the fuel caddy sits totally flush, so they can now recommend it. So if you want to bring extra fuel with you on your ATV, you can. Now let's take a look underneath this Outlander. I'm not sure how well we're going to be able to see it, but let's give it a try, because there is a new full-length skid plate here. And what's most interesting about it, I'm not sure how much you can hear that, but it's actually a composite plastic material. It's not aluminum and it's not steel, which is very interesting. And Can-Am says, first of all, it's just as tough, but then also that it'll slide a little bit better. So if you do actually get up on some obstacles, this is gonna slide and not hook or kind of grind like metal would. So I think that's pretty interesting that they've moved to kind of a composite full-length skid plate. And honestly, you're never really gonna know how well it's gonna hold up until you've ridden it for, quite a while. But right now, I definitely think I like the idea. Ergonomics are said to be improved as well, along with the shifting. So this is a new shifter, and Can-Am had an issue with the shifter before where sometimes it wouldn't want to shift. You'd have to rock the machine. They've made it so easy now. This machine is not even on, and yet it's so easy to manipulate that shifter. So that's one change that they made. And then they also just made it more ergonomic. So there's a more space over here for your legs and for your knees. The seat has been revised. And the seat is nice because it starts out wide back here and gets kind of skinny up here. So you can really kind of lock your knees into it. And then you just have loads of foot space down here. And then even right up here at the front, a little bit of an angled and also kind of beveled foot board. Gives you nice grip. And then look, that shifter is entirely out of the way. There's no way I'm gonna whack that with my knee, even when I stand up. So that is pretty nice. Now I'll turn the power on here. And you can see the readout there. So all of these models get this exact same LCD readout as standard. You can control it up here using 2 buttons. Pretty normal operations. You have your trip, your distances. It'll clock your top speed, engine temp, battery, and then a couple different settings. A nice looking screen. And you can also get quite a few different accessories that will actually, one that comes up above your screen here and will hold your phone up here as well. And then of course, different windshields, loads of accessories for this model. So you know what guys, I think that's just about enough on this XT, but they've rolled out an entire lineup of models, including 2 new Pro work focus models. Let's go take a look at one Outlander Pro. And now folks, here is an Outlander Pro. So this is just the HD5 power plant, although it's also the XU model, which comes with a whole number of upgrades. But let me just first tell you what the Pro is all about. This thing is all about utility. It's about hauling and working. And what makes it so? Well, the suspension. And you're not going to really see any differences, but the spring rates are entirely different. This is going to be a much stiffer suspension to make sure it can handle big amounts of payload and big amounts of towing. Now, besides that, the clutch calibration on the CVT is also entirely unique for the Pro. Once again, to prioritize kind of that low-end torque and that usable low-end power, because this is the customer who's doing a lot of work at low speeds. One number I haven't spit out yet is the tow rating. These things are rated at 1,830 pounds. And yes, there is a full 2-inch hitch receiver back there. Now, sadly, the Pro models do not get a higher tow rating or a higher rack rating. The numbers are the same as the base model. However, these models should work a lot more confidently thanks to that suspension and engine tuning. And there's a couple other things that help the Pro as well. First of all, you get these unique heavy-duty bumpers up front here, which I like. You also get a different set of tires. In this case, they are 6-ply tires. And of course, that's all just about longevity and durability. Now, another feature that this thing gets is a speed limiter. You can actually think of it as a cruise control. So you can set the speed, hold the throttle wide open, and the machine will not go quicker than that. That's especially useful for farming applications. Maybe you're spraying, cutting the grass, who knows. That way you can keep your speed at one consistent rate. And here's one last model I have to show you. This is the Outlander 700 XMR. This thing's all about going in the mud. Now, you can only get it as a 700, which makes sense. And of course, one of the big features is this radiator relocate kit. So you can pop these open as well. Open that up for easy cleaning and access of your rad, but that's gonna make sure that all that mud stays out of your radiator. Now, another thing, on all of these units, the intakes for the CVT and the engine have been moved right up here, just behind the console. Now, here on the XMR, they put extra filters on it, and they make sure they run the CVT exhaust outlet up here as well to make sure that no water is getting in anywhere where it shouldn't. Well, folks, we are coming to the end of this one. Now, rather than try to spit out all the prices at you, I'm gonna put up the price sheet right here so you can see not only the prices, but then all the models across the lineup, because this is an extensive lineup. It doesn't matter whether you just wanna work, have fun, play in the mud, there will be an Outlander model for you. So like I said, that's it for this walk around video, but next up, I'm gonna give you a full review on this unit, actually out there riding on a dirt track. So make sure you stay tuned to the channel for that. But please, before you go in the comments, let me know what you think of this Outlander, and if you have any questions, and I'll do my best to answer them. As always, while you're down there, don't forget to hit like, hit subscribe, hit join to become a member, and then come back here to TK Power Sports and RVs to see what we're testing next. See ya.